All right, welcome to Chapter 9. We are going to go through the words to review first. So take a look at this. Should be the top page of your note-taking guides. The distance formula, basically an example of this, or the vocabulary word itself, is the distance from point A to point B. So you have an x1 and a y1, and you have an x2 and a y2. So it's the distance from point A to point B. The midpoint formula will tell you the location of the middle of a line. So you're going to be given a line segment, and it'll tell you where that middle point is. The focus, or the foci, these points are on a parabola. Each point is equal distance from a point called the focus. So it is a point that is equidistant to the graph. So that what this means is if you have a parabola, okay, and here's the foci, it means that these two lengths are equal. It means that from here to here, this is equal. Basically, this point is line of symmetry to there, line of symmetry to here. It's a point that is equal distance to the graph. And I guess I should say points that are equal distance to the graph. Directrix. A directrix is what those points are the equidistant lines. So this right here, so like I said, the equidistant line. It's actually also, it is equal distance to the foci, but what it is the directrix is a line that is perpendicular to the axis of symmetry. So what you've got now is here is the axis of symmetry. Here is a directrix, and if you drew a line from here to there and here to here, these points, this would be equal distance to that point there. A circle, you want to make sure you point out that it has a center and a certain radius. With a certain radius of, say, right like this. So then that circle goes around that center. There, that's better. In an equal distance way. All right, it's very difficult to draw, but draw a circle there and you're good to go. The center, you can say, is 1 radius away from the circle. For radius, if you want to draw a circle, put a center and say that this right here is the radius. An ellipse looks very much, looks a lot like a circle, but it does not have a radius. It has, looks more like an oval, or football, or rugby, or however you want to, whatever you want to say it looks like. Okay. That is what an ellipse looks like. That is an example of it. Vertices. All right, there are vertices and there are co-vertices. The vertices are where the ellipse passes through the major axis. Basically, if you want, draw an ellipse again. Draw the coordinate plane through here. And the vertices are these points on the ends. All right, it's the points furthest from the center of it. Let's now jump to co-vertices. Co-vertices are very similar, except that instead of being, okay, so here's your ellipse. Here is your axes. And your co-vertices are here and there, the points that are closer to the center. Let's talk about a major axis. A major axis goes through the vertices, whereas the minor axis goes through the co-vertices. A hyperbola you've already actually seen. The hyperbola puts you is a graph that has some places where some asymptotes. For the most part, our hyperbolas have looked like this. Okay, where we've had horizontal and vertical asymptotes. Now keep in mind, it still has vertices, and if you know where the vertices are, the transverse axis joins the vertices. So transverse axis is a axis that joins the vertices of a hyperbola. All right. So the last four here. All right, for conic section, let's just know that a circle, it's supposed to be a circle, everyone, sorry. There you go. A circle is a conic section. So when it's asking for examples of it, a circle is one. An example of a general second degree equation would be something like 3x squared plus y squared plus 2x minus 3y plus 15 equals 0. This is just an example of a general second degree equation. The discriminant is a way of an equation can be used to identify the type of the conic. So the discriminant tells the type of the conic. So when you find the discriminant, it tells you the type of the conic. In a quadratic system are when you have two equations. You might have an x squared plus y squared equals 5. And then you may have that y equals 2x. This is a system. All right, so you're going to want to have at least a little bit of each of these words to review so that you can do well on your exam or your test. If you look at this, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. There are 18 vocabulary words. So since there are 18 vocab words, and I can tell you right now that there are 38 total questions on the test. So if you just did the vocabulary, 18 over 38 is almost a 50% on your exam. So you could, just by knowing all of these vocabulary examples, you could earn a 50%. That means you could get half of the rest of the questions wrong and still have a C. So please keep that in mind. Make sure you review these vocabulary words.